And joining us now to discuss how crypto exchanges are responding to the merge is Bobby Zagotta. He's a CEO at crypto exchange Bitstamp USA. Hi there, Bobby. Thanks for joining us this morning. So how is Bitstamp responding to the merge?
Well, we're first of all thrilled that it, from a technology perspective, was very smooth and kind of a non-event. From a user perspective, as you would expect, we had a lot of Ether volume this week. It was one of the highest weeks of the year from an Ether volume perspective. We also had a lot of net inflows. So our net inflows, particularly on the day of the merge, were much higher than typical. I think people looking for a safe and secure place for their ETH during this kind of transition period. But overall, we're very pleased with where we stand now and ready to see what happens with the ETH market from this point, which is quite interesting.
Any plans on listing ETH proof of work?
You know, we're taking that as we would take any token. We've got a quite rigorous process, as you probably know, to evaluate tokens and token opportunities on behalf of our customers. We have to look at them deeply from a technology perspective as well, of course, from a regulatory perspective. So we're looking at it and we'll consider it, but so far it doesn't seem to be a real viable opportunity for our customers.
In other words, you think it's a failure?
I can't say that yet.
You don't want to say it. I get it, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, as an exchange operator, you know, any token that has traction that we think is safe and secure, we'd like to make it available and let the market decide. This one, you know, has a little bit of a bumpy start. It doesn't mean it's a failure yet.
Okay. What have you seen in terms of the flows? You said that you've seen an increase in flows into Bitstamp itself, but also into Ethereum. What do the flows tell you about the type of customers that are putting money in? I believe you're mostly focused on the retail investor, but are you noticing anything about the sizes of those kind of investments, the players, et cetera? That's telling you something that might be different than what was happening in ETH before, or what's happening in Bitcoin now, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, in terms of the volume increase this week in ETH, it was actually led by institutions, and that's a significant part of our exchange business. So about 56% increase in volume from institutions versus, I think it was in the 30s, 35% increase in volume from retail users. So that's, I think, interesting to note. In terms of inflows, similar phenomenon, a little bit more even or balanced between retail and institutions in terms of net inflows. But we're definitely seeing people trying to, you know, be as safe and secure as they can be leading up to the event. And right now, I'm curious to see what we will see today and tomorrow in terms of net inflows, outflows, and volume.
What do you think was driving the institutional interest into ETH versus what was driving the retail interest into ETH? Do you have any sense of motivations? I mean, obviously everyone's excited, but any specifics on the motivations?
Yeah, you know, I can only speculate. Obviously, I think there was a bit of a sell the news phenomenon leading up to the merge. It did create a lot of interest in ETH, did create some new customers who were focused on it, which is all to the good. But then after the merge and after the fact that it was a non-event, I think there were a lot of people hoping to cash in on whatever run up there had been in June, July, August, and try to cash out. And there just aren't as many buyers today as there were a couple of days ago. And I think that impacts, obviously, the retail audience primarily.
I saw that in a blog post for Bitstamp US that the company claimed that trading and ETH staking would not be affected in any way. Does that change with the color that we've learned that SEC Chair Gary Gensler has reportedly said that there could be extra scrutiny for proof of stake cryptocurrencies like Ethereum?
Yeah, our posture on this hasn't changed at all. Obviously, we're monitoring the situation very, very closely. As I mentioned earlier, we have an extremely rigorous process looking at all of our tokens and new tokens that we're bringing to the marketplace to make sure that we have confidence in our case regarding whether or not they could be considered a security, as well as whether or not they're just a secure and safe protocol. Now, with respect to the SEC and Chairman Gensler, it is difficult to predict, and I've definitely been wrong many times when I've thought I've understood what the motivation is and what the focus is. So I've stopped guessing, but we will continue to monitor the situation closely. Obviously, we feel that the marketplace is quite comfortable with the current treatment of ETH as not a security. And I don't think personally that staking affects that equation at all. This is, this is a means to secure the network, and there has to be an incentive in order to get people to do that, given the decentralized nature of the protocol. So I don't know how that changes anything from a securities law perspective.